Hey guys, Rick Stone here. So welcome to our gardening tips, and this is another video in our planting guide series where we talk to you about what you should be planting monthly in the different gardening zones. And today we are going to talk about what you should be planting in February in zones 3 and 4. And there's not a lot, okay? And so let's get to that. First off, if you don't know what gardening zone you live in, there's a link in the description down below that you can click on. It'll take you to an article on my website where you can then pin down what growing zone you live in, okay? So zones 3 and 4. First off, I'm going to have some haters that pop up right away and say, I don't understand gardening in the far north, and you're right, I don't live in the far north, and so there really isn't much that you can do gardening wise in February in zones 3 and 4 because it's still really cold for you guys. Okay, you guys are the ones that are up there around the Canadian border if you live in the United States, and you know, that far north, and it's cold, and I understand that. And so let's talk about a few things that you should be doing in preparation for your garden in February. Okay, the first thing that you really ought to be doing is taking some time to plan. Figure out what you're going to be planting, where it's going to go. You guys have the challenge of a very short growing season, and so you need to have a plan in place so that you're sure that you're getting everything in at the right time and planted and going as quickly as possible. So do some planning. Okay, the next thing that you ought to be doing is getting your seeds ordered. Because those of us that live in the warmer zones, like I live in a zone 6, I've already ordered my seeds. And if you don't get some seeds ordered in February, then a lot of those unique seeds are going to be out of stock. And so even though it's months away from really planting tomatoes and things like that for you guys, you need to get your seeds ordered now so that you have an opportunity to actually get them, okay? So get your seeds ordered, okay? Next thing that you ought to be doing is it's time to start thinking about tools and you know, your lawnmower and all of those kind of things. It's time to tune up your tools, sharpen your shovels, sharpen your pruners, sharpen your tree trimmers, your lawnmower blade. You can, you know, change the oil in your lawnmower and take the blade off and sharpen it up too. Time now to be thinking about those kind of things so that you don't have to mess with those when it's time to plant the actual garden, okay? So get all of those kind of things taken care of as well. Now, here's where the haters are going to come after me, and so pay close attention. If you have something like a greenhouse or a cold frame, then there's actually a few seedlings that you could start towards the end of February indoors with the anticipation of planting them out in your garden in mid-April, okay? So we're not talking about tomatoes or cucumbers or things like that. We're talking about hardy greens, things like kale or lettuce or Swiss chard, things that are going to stand up to the cold. And the only way that you can be starting those seedlings is if you have something to plant them in, like a greenhouse or a cold frame, okay? So if you've got one of those, the end of February is a great time to actually get started growing some of those seedlings. You can get some lettuce started, you can get some kale, you can get Swiss chard, arugula, bok choy, spinach, lettuce, all of those kind of things. You can get started indoors with the anticipation of transplanting them out sometime in April into a cold frame or a greenhouse, okay? So please don't think I'm telling you that you're going to be able to go out and chisel in the frozen ground in April, because I understand that it's still pretty cold in your guys' zones in April. So only if you have a cold frame or a hoop house, you could start some seedlings indoors the end of February and get them out in your garden in April, okay? All right, so that's it. Gardening in February in zones 3 and 4, not a lot to it because there's not a lot yet that you can do, and I'm sorry about that, but that's kind of the way it goes for those of you that live in the far north. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure you click the notification bell when you do that so that you get noticed when I release new videos, which we do several times a month. Lots of great gardening content, including this growing guide where we're going to talk about things that you should plant every month in your garden. So tune back in for those, and you'll see here at the end screens that we have links to other year-round growing guides for the different months. So that's all I have for you for today, Everybody have a great week and happy gardening.